I tell my story with a heavy sigh while admitting that I never imagined that my life would be turned upside down because of a single letter. I was sitting on a bench in a small cafe in a strange city when the events of this mysterious story that would change my life forever began. I was looking for peace and escape from the pressures of everyday life. I decided to travel to a small city in Europe where I knew no one, and no one knew me. I wanted to be alone with my thoughts, but fate had other ideas. One cold morning I received an unexpected letter. It was carefully placed on the table of the cafe where I sat every day. I did not see who placed it, and it did not have the sender's name. Only the envelope read, "To the person who feels like a stranger." I carefully opened the letter and found mysterious words written in elegant handwriting. True love does not fear the dark, but it requires courage to face the light. If you want answers, look for the blue door on the street of happiness. The letter intrigued me beyond resistance. I started looking for Happiness Street in the city, and finally found it after hours of searching. The street was quiet and strange, as if time had stopped there. There, I saw the blue door. I knocked carefully, and a beautiful woman with black hair and sword-like eyes opened it. I later learned that her name was Eliza. She invited me in, and the room was filled with books, maps, and paintings. It seemed like it belonged to another time. Eliza told me that the letter wasn't for any random person. She knew I would find it. She asked me why I came to the city, and how I truly felt about myself. Her words were deep and direct, as if she knew me better than I knew myself. As we talked, she showed me another letter written in a different handwriting, but she wouldn't let me read it unless I could solve a puzzle. The puzzle was a set of mysterious symbols. I spent hours trying to decipher them, and with each symbol I solved, I discovered a part of her past. Over time, I began to feel a strong connection between us. Eliza had a complicated past, filled with pain and betrayal, but she was also brave and full of hope. As I discovered her secrets, I began to face questions about my true identity and my courage to face the world. One night, Eliza gave me an old box containing a letter from her ex-girlfriend who had mysteriously disappeared. The letter read, "Don't be afraid to love, even if the price is pain. But if you want the truth, go back to where it all began." After reading the letter, I felt a wave of confusion and fear. I asked Eliza where it all began, but she didn't answer directly. She seemed lost in thought, as if she was thinking back years ago. "The place where it all began," Eliza muttered. Then she got up and pulled an old map out of a small wooden box. She pointed to a location in the woods outside the city. "This is where it all began," she said in a trembling voice. "This is where it all began. This is where it all ended." At dawn, we set off together into the forest. The path was full of dense trees, and the air was charged with a strange sense of anticipation. After hours of walking, we arrived at an old, abandoned cabin. The cabin looked like something from a horror movie, its walls covered with moss and the windows broken. Inside the cabin, we found another box, but it was locked with a heart-shaped lock. Next to the box, there was a sign that read, "Truth is not what the eyes see, but what the heart feels. If you are brave enough, open the box." We didn't have the key, but we noticed that the lock had a small engraving. The engraving was two letters, E and L. Eliza looked at the letters, her eyes filling with tears. "These are our initials," she said. "She and we've been here together for years." We didn't know how to find the key. We started searching inside the cabin, and in the process discovered an old diary buried under the floor. The diary was handwritten by Eliza's ex-girlfriend and contained shocking details. The diary spoke of a secret love affair between them, and of a betrayal they suffered from by an unknown person who tried to separate them. It also referred to a dangerous agreement that the lover made with a mysterious person in the forest to save Eliza from great danger, but it did not mention the details. At the end of the diary, I found a small piece of paper with a drawing of a key and its location. The key was buried under a tree near the cabin. When we found the key and opened the box, we found a long letter and a picture of Eliza and her ex-girlfriend. The letter was full of love and regret, but it revealed a horrific secret. Eliza's ex-girlfriend had not disappeared, but had been forced to leave after threats from her family. The letter also mentioned that she had planned to return, but had been involved in a mysterious accident that prevented her from doing so. In the letter, she asked Eliza to move on and find love again, but she also warned of someone who was still watching. As we were trying to process the truth, we noticed shadows moving outside the hut. I felt like we were being watched. We cautiously walked out of the hut, and there we found an old man watching us silently. As we approached him, he said in a mysterious tone, "You're too late, but the story isn't over yet." We returned to town filled with questions. Were we just puppets in a bigger game? Who was that man? And can we find more answers? Do you think love can conquer all these secrets? What do you think about what happened? Share your thoughts with me, and don't forget to follow the next story.